So yesterday we started answering all of our questions. So we dealt with the first part of Naaseh v'Nishma. Naaseh means I want to do good for you, God, because I love you. Right? The greatest level of doing anything for anyone is not fear of punishment. It's not reward. It's just I love you. Because when you love someone, you want to make them happy. That's what makes you happy, right? And therefore, what is love? We say, what matters to you matters to me. Because it matters to me? No, because it matters to you. That's called Naaseh. God, just tell me what makes you happy. I want to do it. But then we said also Nishma. Because what's Nishma? Nishma means, but God, I don't just want to do it. I want to get to understand you. Because the more I understand you, the more I understand why you want, the more that it makes me love you. Because love is directly proportional to knowledge, right? But not only that, I don't just want to make you something that makes you happy. I want to do the ultimate. Which flowers do you love? In which color? In what number? I don't want to give you any chocolate. You know what I'm saying? I want to give you the chocolate. Because that's going to make you that much more happy. So that's why we said Naaseh v'Nishma. And then we moved on. I mean, I wanted to say this yesterday, but we ran out of time because classes are short. That's right. Okay, moving on. So then, I'm going to say part 2 of Naaseh v'Nishma, but then I'm going to collect all of Naaseh v'Nishma. So everything works together. There is a famous midrash, I told you this, but I didn't develop so much the midrash, that said that before God offered the Torah to the Jews, he also offered it to the non-Jews. Why? Because then they're going to say, but wait, God, you didn't give me a choice, so it is not fair that I'm held accountable for something I didn't do. So fine, so God says, no problem. He offered the Torah to each one of the nations of the world, right? So now, when Hashem offered the Torah to a nation, the midrash actually tells us how the offering went. Pretty much said like this. God went to a nation of Ishmael and said, do you want the Torah? So they said, what's in it, right? They asked a question. We said that was in itself a criticized because you forgot God is offering, but that was yesterday. But now, they said, what's in the Torah? So God said, it said you cannot be immoral. So they said, no immorality? Are you joking? This is not for us, God. You know, like too hard. So fine. So then God went to a nation of Esaf. He said, do you want the Torah? And they said, what's in it? So God says, it says you cannot steal. So they said, no, this is not for us. So then God said, fine. And he went to a Jewish people and he said, do you want the Torah? And the Jewish people didn't ask questions. And what did they say? Naaseh v'Nishma. We're willing to do everything, God. We don't even need to know what's in it. So now, question, yes? When God was offering the Torah to the non-Jews, is it hard for the Arabs? I don't want to say as a general, but let's say, is the weakness or is it something that is hard for the Arabs, immorality, or having relations, yes or no? Yes. Is it hard for these other people that? Yes. How many mitzvot exist in the Torah? 613 mitzvot. Question. God, couldn't you find the mitzvah that they would most likely be able to do and choose? When you told them, do you want the Torah? And they asked, what was in it? Couldn't you have said one mitzvah that they would have said, oh, I love this mitzvah? Like, for example, who's Friday here? Sima. Have you ever gone to a Friday person for Shabbat? Yes. Okay. Friday people love hosting. I'm not saying Ashkenazi people don't, but if you ever go to a Friday house for Shabbat, each dish is made as if every single person was going to eat the whole entire dish. There's like food for 45 people, even though there's 5. And then they make you feel bad about all of the children starving in Africa. They make 72 salads, you know, like the name of God multiplied by I don't know what. They're like amazing. Now, I'm not saying Ashkenazi people don't like hosting. You know, you ever gone to the Bedouins, right? Eretz Bereshit? They're Arabs, right? There's Arabs and Muslims, right? Do they love having guests? Yes, Arabs are very into having guests. It's like a guest culture. Question, if God would have said to the Arabs, do you want the Torah? And they would have said, what's in it? And God says, it says you should have guests. Would they say yes? Sure, give it. I love this mitzvah. Totally willing to do it. Love having guests, right? But it seems to be that God offered it with one of the hardest mitzvot that they could choose. He actually told them what he knew they were going to say no. So, when I was younger and I came to learn Torah, I asked this question. So I said, doesn't it seem like God tricked the situation? Because he offered it, but he knew they were going to say no. So what answer did I always get? People told me like this. In reality, God wanted to give the Torah to a Jewish people, but he didn't want the non-Jews to say they didn't get an offer, and therefore he offered it to them in a way he knew they were going to say no, to get out of an obligation, but really, he wanted to give it to a Jewish people. And everyone says, oh, that makes sense. And I'm like, no, it doesn't make sense. That's called manipulating. You understand? When the Torah says that God offered, it means he offered. Therefore, it means that if they would have said yes, they would have gotten it. You understand? As I told you, Adam did not have a religion, because if he would have said yes, and everyone after him would have said yes, they would have all been Jewish or godly or whatever you want to call it. Actually, the Torah says that right before Mashiach comes, we're going to have tons of converts. Have you ever noticed how many converts we have? I mean, just look at this school, right? Tons of converts. Why? And it answers something amazing, because you know who are all of those converts? All of those converts are the souls that when their nation got the Torah as an offering, individually they did wanted it. But because their nation as a whole said no, they weren't able to get it. But being that truthfully they wanted the Torah, God will give them an opportunity to have them before Mashiach comes. And right now we see tons of converts, because God says, you want it? I want to give it to you. If you want it, you want to work hard for it, please take it, right? So now how do we understand it? So what I'm going to tell you is one of the most important ideas you hear in your life until I tell you the next most important idea, okay? Even though God knew that they were going to say no, God did not expect them to say no. You know why? And this is huge. The Torah is for you to work on your weakness. And if you don't want to work on your weakness, the Torah is not for you. When God went and offered the Torah to a non-Jews, he offered it with exactly what he knew it was going to be hard for them. Because that's exactly the point. It should be hard for you. You know, if the Torah is in order to perfect you and allow you to be godly, then there's no point if I only get the Torah and I only do the mitzvah that I like. I mean, there is a point. I'm still doing a mitzvah, but that's not going to give me perfection. Education in the Torah happens where you don't want to be educated. That's where you need to be educated. Because why don't you want to be educated? Because you're stubborn, because you're comfortable, because you want to do whatever you want. But that's exactly the opposite of being godly. God knew they were going to say no because it is too hard. But that's exactly what you need to work on. You need to work on what's hard for you. That's your ultimate mitzvah. That's your ultimate thing. Ultimately, you have to keep the whole Torah. But you know what is the one for you? The hardest one. And I'll show this to you in a few minutes, right? The hardest one. You know what? This is why when God went to a Jews, he said, do you want the Torah? Listen to it, it's huge. You know what the Jewish people said? Naaseh v'nishma. God, I'm totally willing to work on my being. I don't even care what it says or not said. I mean, obviously I care. But if the Torah is in order for me to perfect myself, just tell me what area I need to work on. I don't need you to tell me first which area I have to work and then work on the area. No. When you want to work on yourself, you have to be open-minded to hear anything anyone has to say. You have to be open-minded and willing to work on everything. You know, this is why we're not being very successful in this work, because people don't want to work on themselves. People just want what's easy. Think about this for one moment. If you go to college, right, or if you work, what do people usually choose as what they're going to work on or what they're going to study? It depends on two things. Number one, what they like, yes? But even more important than what you like, what is going to guide you? You know what? What makes money? That's what matters. Because the whole mentality of the world is taking. Why do I have to work on what I'm not? You know, I remember, a long time ago, I was in the gym, and I was changing channel. I couldn't find anything. And then suddenly they had this, Glee concert. I thought Glee is cute. I mean, I never saw Glee in my life, but they sing. So I was like, fine, this is like MTV, I'm going to watch it. I forgot I even saw this at one point. So in Glee, they were doing the song from Lady Gaga, which I only know it because I used to have it in Zumba, but then after watching this Glee concert, I decided I don't like this song anymore. But the song was, what does it go? I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Okay? So that was the concert. So what did the Glee cast do? Everyone took a shirt and wrote in that shirt something bad that they had. This one was stubborn. You know, anyone saw this concert? And what was the whole purpose of the song? And then they asked the crowd. Everyone in the crowd was, you know what I love about Glee? Each one of the characters has something bad. Or something that the world doesn't accept. But all of Glee is about accepting. You know, it's okay if you have bad qualities. It's okay if you have this thing. I was born this way. This is the way I am. You know, that's what the song is telling you. Who cares about this? Who cares about this? I'm on the right track, baby, because I was born this way. You take me, take me as I am. Take my hand. You understand? But that's not what the Torah says. So what if you're born this way? That's exactly the whole point. The whole reason why you're born this way is so that you can fix yourself. Isn't that beautiful? Because we said, when we were talking about purpose of life, you know what allows you to be godly? The fixing. If you would be born perfect, okay, you would never be godly. Because you will never have to go through the act of perfecting yourself in order to be godly. You want to be godly. You understand? The way the world sees it is, I don't have to work so much. God, I am totally willing on working to develop what I'm good at, but to work on my weakness, I don't want to do that. The Jewish people, I'm saying, again, we don't always do this. This is why we're going through Yom Kippur. But our mentality in life should be, I don't even need to hear what's in the Torah. If the purpose of my life is to become godly, then I have to be willing and open to work on each one of the things that I have. You understand? That's the purpose of your life. But now you should be asking a question, okay? Which is even going to express this even deeper, because this question is amazing. And you should be saying, but wait a minute. If when God offered the Torah to all of the non-Jews, he offered it with their weakness, what should you be asking me? What is the weakness of the Jewish people? Oh, he didn't offer it with the weakness? So from one side, I told you, easy answer. They just said, we're willing to work on everything. But what is the weakness of the Jewish people as a whole? Just as every nation has a weakness, what is our weakness? And now you're really going to get Nasa and Ishma. So let me tell you the other part of the Midrash, which no one tells. You know what it tells you? When God went to a Jewish people and offered the Torah, he didn't just offer it, he said like this. Do you want the Torah in which is written, I am the Lord your God? And you should be like, wait, what? Why does he need to say that? Didn't he just say, hello, I am God that took you out of Egypt? Like, didn't he just do the 10 plagues? He needs to remind us he's God. And you know what the Torah answers? Huge. Because God was offering the Torah to a Jewish people and their weakness. You know what's the weakness of the Jewish people? And you'll totally get your Israeli parents now. You know what's the weakness of the Jewish people? I am the Lord your God. Jewish people are stubborn as heck. We think we know everything. Is this true? Yes. Yes. Our weakness is accepting we're wrong. Accepting there's a God. That's our weakness, right? You know what they say? 2 Jews, 3 opinions. 5 Jews, 25 opinions. This is the way we go. This is why we're going to go to the whole, Yom Kippur. I always say, on Yom Kippur, you say vidui 10 times. 10 times you ask forgiveness for your sins. I don't know you, but by the 3rd time, I already feel holy. I'm already like, I said it 3 times, I cried, like I'm good. I mean, I don't cry anymore because I'm home with Chevy, and Chevy's too cute. She just makes me smile. Every time I'm trying to be serious in life, suddenly I hear a little voice, ah, ah. And then God, it's not that you're not first place, you are first place, but you gave me Chevy, and she's so cute, and she's talking to me. I can't do anything. But the point is, right, you have to ask forgiveness for your sin 10 times. You ever thought about this? 10 times. By the way, not only do you ask forgiveness for your sins 10 times, there are at least each one of the 10 times, you have 30 different verbs or words for expressing your different sins. So you're pretty much asking for 2 million sins. How much could you ask forgiveness for? And you know what's the idea? The point of vidui is not to only ask for forgiveness. That's what people think. You know what's the point for vidui? You know what's the hardest thing in life? Is it too late now to say sorry? Isn't that the hardest thing in life? So hard. You know that tshuva is not completed until you say I'm sorry out loud. You know this? Let's say you went and you ate something non-kosher and you just feel bad, you even had diarrhea, that's it. If you don't say out loud, God, I'm sorry I ate that Big Mac. I'm never going to do it again, or I'm going to try not to do it again. Your teshuvah is not complete. Why do you have to say it out loud? Isn't it enough with just feeling bad? No. Because when you say it out loud, you get rid of that ego. You understand? If you don't say it out loud, it's as if you never made a mistake. It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You know that song? Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Nobody's perfect. That's what you say to yourself. Says God, no. That's not the way it works. Say it out loud. Accept you're not perfect. Each time you say vidui, it's as if you're taking the huge ego of yours and making it smaller, 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 until by the 10th time, there's no ego. Now that there's no ego, now you could do tshuva. The weakness of the Jewish people is their ego, is our stubbornness. We think we know everything. That's the way we work. Sometimes, I have an Israeli father, and whoever has an Israeli father, I'm sure you could see this. If you ever argue with an Israeli, you could be arguing about a fact. They'll tell you that you're wrong. You could print books. They'll tell you the whole printing book was wrong. You're like, there's millions of, this is the bestseller. No, it's not like that. One time Jimmy Carter and Golda Meir were arguing. Everyone knows who's Jimmy Carter and Golda Meir? Okay. So Jimmy Carter looks at Golda Meir and says, what are you complaining about? You only have 3 million citizens. Golda Meir looks at him and says, no, you don't get it. You have 200 million citizens. I have 3 million presidents. You ever been to Israel? Can I tell you one of the things I crack up about in Israel? We have like literally 40 political parties. By the way, consider that in America that you have 330 million people, you pretty much have 2 political parties. And then the silent one. I don't know how you call this, right? In Israel, you have 40 political parties. There's the Nanach, there's the Breslov, there's this party, that party, there's this one. Then there is the right, the center right, the center right. Then there's the left, and there's the center left. And you know what happens when you go voting here? I was in shock the first time I went voting. I go into a room, there's like a line of 20 people sitting in front of you. Each one checks your name to make sure no one is cheating. No one trusts each other. Each one is checking. And then you know what happens here in Israel? This is like a democracy that parliamentary, I don't know, my husband explained to me the whole thing. The president don't just win, he needs to build his government. So the government in Israel falls often because someone doesn't agree. This is the way it works. I guess they do it in order for us to have like a free day. You know what I'm talking about? Like 2 years ago we voted, last year we voted again, then whenever you don't do what I want, then I'm going out, then whatever. This is what's happening. You understand? This is Jewish people. Our weakness is accepting God, accepting that we're weak, accepting that we have limitations, accepting that we're not perfect. That's our weakness. So now guess what God said? Do you want the Torah in which is written, I am the Lord your God? Check this out. You know what the Jewish people said? Naaseh v'nishma. Huge. Listen to this. God, I am willing to accept it and commit to do even without understanding. Not because I don't want to understand, but because in my understanding, there's understanding, I cannot understand everything. And you know what, God? It's okay, because I'm not God. You are. Now, Seven Ishma means, it's not like I'm a robot, your wish is my command. No. I am willing to do without understanding, because in my understanding, there's understanding, I cannot understand everything. And if my doing will depend on what I understand, then let me break this to you, you're never going to do anything. You'll always get to, you know how they call it in Hebrew? The machzom, the blockage. You'll always get to this blockage where there's something you don't get. People tell me all the time, but I don't get it. I don't agree with it. What? By the way, there's a famous rabbi, and I'll go back to this, I don't get it in 1 second. There's a famous rabbi called the Rashba. He said an amazing quote. You want this for Facebook, okay? You know what he said? The purpose of knowing is knowing that I do not know. You hear this? This is deep. תכלית הידיעה שיודע שאינני יודע. The purpose of knowing is knowing that I do not know. Because if you would be honest with yourself, then you would realize the more you know, the more that you have a vision of everything else that there is to know. The more you know, the more that you would realize you don't really know anything. The Torah says, who is the wise one? This is in Pirkei Avot. It says, the one that learns from everyone. In this world, you'll be like, for real? In this world, the wise one is the professor. And there's nothing you could argue with him because he knows it all, right? But that Torah says, that's not wise. If you think you know it all, you'll never be open to learn anything new. You'll never be open to understand that you're making a mistake. The wise one is someone that's open to learn from everyone. Just the fact that you want to learn from everyone makes you wise. I always used to think, how could it be? Who's the most humble person that ever existed? Who? Moshe Rabbeinu, yes? I always had one question. How could it be that the most humble person that ever existed was also the greatest person that ever existed? Like if someone could be a little arrogant, that's Moshe, no? A little bit. Like you have, you have something that you could say like, hey, it's me, right? You ever notice how when people are really little, they're actually that much more arrogant? You know why? The further away you stand away from the sun, the smaller the sun looks. But the closer you get to it, the bigger it is. That's the same thing with your life. The farther away you're standing from what's real, from what's truth, the more you think you know. The closer you get to it, the more you realize you have no idea what you're talking about. The purpose of knowing is knowing that I do not know. So, for 2A, and then we continue, never, because I'm never going to see you again, right? I'm joking. What do we say? Beautiful. Naaseh v'nishma. God, I know you're God. I'm going to work on my weakness. I'm willing to let go of my ego, of my wanting to understand everything, because I understand I cannot understand. And I'm going to give you a little secret. Life is much better that way. It's really hard when you just want to control the entire world. When you understand you have weaknesses, and they're so much better. You know, someone that's trying to grasp the whole world will just end up losing everything. Na'aseh v'nishma means I'm willing to work on my weakness. I'm willing to work on the fact that I am limited, and it's okay. It's okay to be limited, because I am not you, God. You get this? Great. Beautiful. Bye-bye.